Let me tell you a little something about love, Dennis. It has voracious appetite. It eats everything. Friendship, family. It kills me how much it eats. But I'll tell you something else. You feed it right, and it can be a beautiful thing, and that's what we have. You know, when someone believes in you, man, you can do anything, any fucking thing in the entire universe. And when you believe right back in that someone, then watch out, world, because nobody can stop you. Then nobody, ever.
You feel this way about Lee?
What? Fuck no. Talking about Christine, man. No shitter ever came between me and Christine.
Let's motivate, and welcome to What Makes It Scary, a seasonal podcast unleashing the fear behind your favorite and not so favorite horror movies. I'm your host, Jody Vincent of Clever Girl Effects Studios, and with me, as always, Alex Vincent of Mr. Ed Productions.
Who made hell?
Oh, God.
I told you I get 3 of those. I forgot to do the 3rd one in our last episode.
I'm tired of you bringing up things from past episodes already.
Well, this season's going to be a long season then.
Oh, good thing we're like halfway through.
That's true. This is an invigorating moment.
Yes.
I always feel so much better after we finish the worst horror movie.
I agree, because it's like smooth sailing from them, because we like right now, after today, we'll be finished with September.
That's right.
And then we'll be moving on to October, and we always save the best for October.
Hey, wake me up when September ends, am I right? Hey, that's a funny joke that no one's ever made before. How come nobody ever makes that joke?
Okay, I'm already going to cut you.
Oh, you're
just in half.
Okay, you're already over me.
Yes.
Yeah, today is an exciting episode because we're talking about a movie that I have seen before this show.
Good.
And I'm a fan of. And this is a good episode.
And what movie is that?
It's called Christine.
Stephen King. John Carpenter's Christine.
Stephen King's John Carpenter's Christine, right?
Yeah.
It's an awkward title, but yeah, this is a movie based on a Stephen King book, weirdly enough. Yeah, we thought we'd shake it up.
It's what we're going along with the whole season.
Yeah.
Yes, Christine. I'll put it out there. This was my most dreaded book and movie viewing because cars are for boys.
That's right. Cars are for boys.
I am not a boy. And so I thought I would just be very, very bored.
Yeah, right.
I'm happy to say that that's not true.
Good. I'm happy too. Now, I've talked about this before. There was a time in my life where I would have said that Christine was my favorite book of all time.
Yeah.
And that's weird now, going back to it. I realize, though, why I thought that.
Why?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the movie. And
okay.
Because I saw the movie and read the book kind of at the same time when I was a kid. And I really identified with the Arnie character.
You don't say.
Because, I mean, this might come as a shock to you. I was a huge nerd.
Yeah.
And so...
That is shocking.
Yeah. This is a story all about a huge nerd becoming cool. And there's no hiccups or asterisks to this story. It's just, that's as simple as it is.
So you just idolize this story.
Kind of, in a weird way.
So did you go around looking for like a really old car?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
You weren't that into it?
No, I wasn't trying to, live this movie in that way. But I just liked that he had a friend who was cool, who liked him, and they had a really good friendship.
Yeah.
I looked up to that a lot. I liked that it was, I mean... You just pick up on these weird things when you're a kid. Like, you're not... I know that it's on a bad story about, like, corruption and obsession and everything, but I liked that he was becoming cooler and he got a girlfriend. He met this girl he really liked. And I was like, oh, maybe
one day I'll do that.
Maybe one day I will be cool. And it never happened, so...
Nope. I'm still waiting.
Still waiting on me to stop slicking my hair back and start wearing it off to the side.
Absolutely. I have really no history with this movie.
Yeah.
I've always known Christine is a thing, and because it's about a possessed car, or that's what I believed it to be, I couldn't give a shit. So I literally was just like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's a car.
Not for you.
Like, yeah, it's nothing.
Right.
When you say it like that.
But you've seen the movie, you've read the book.
Yes.
What do you think
I
now?
read the book 1st in preparation for watching it. The book came out in 1983. The movie also came out in 1983.
Yeah.
It basically, they published it and immediately started a screenplay for it. I mean,
Right. Well, I mean, they started writing it before the book was even officially published.
Right.
Yeah. He had because King has 2 movies. There's 2 C movies that came out this year, 1983. The other one being Cujo.
Oh, I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there were 2 manuscripts that were not published yet that they took to the producer of this movie, and they said, which one of these do you want to make? And they were like, Cujo? What is this? This is crap.
Really?
And threw it away. They went with Christine instead. Well, because like car culture is a big thing.
I guess.
Like I
don't understand.
You can sell a car, and what I mean by that is sell the idea of a car, not so much selling a car because who has money to buy a car these days. But
Nobody.
The
car's not even like put together all the way.
That's right. It's falling apart. Yeah. So they made this movie in a real big hurry, which really goes to show how hot King was at this time. Just how hot he was. Because he's a big deal. This is like the peak of.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
So they literally the same year the book came out. That doesn't happen that often, so it's pretty cool.
But yeah, no ties to it. But let's get into it. This movie's directed by John Carpenter.
That's right, the John Carpenter. Obviously, Halloween.
The original.
Obviously, They Live. Best movie ever. They Live.
God.
The Thing.
Yes.
John Carpenter's The Thing. He directed.
And apparently, like The Thing influenced a lot of how Christine was filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Critics had kiboshed The Thing for being too graphic.
Right, and too like gory and horrific, which it is.
And so
John
Carpenter's just like, okay, well then fine, I'll go back to my Halloween roots and show nothing.
Right. Yeah, there's very little gore in this movie. There's a little bit of blood at the end.
Very little.
And that's it. All of the death scenes are very, like, not graphic. They're shocking and horrific, but...
Yeah, they're not gory in any way. Do I think that was the best way to go? Absolutely not. But... Mm-hmm. But I'm just a girl, not yet a woman. So I guess my opinion doesn't matter in cars. But
sure.
Yeah, so... like I said, John Carpenter's always on my shit list. Like, I'm always like, you got a lot to make up for with the choices that you've made.
Right. Now, for context, for people who might not have listened to all of our shows.
Well, what are you doing?
Well,
go back and listen.
They're good episodes. But you have a hard time with some of these movies.
Yeah, I do. Halloween is great.
Oh, yeah. Classic. It's kind of slow, kind of boring.
Yes. But, I don't know. At least it makes me feel things.
Yeah.
They Live... garbage movie.
You did not
absolute
like it.
Trash. The Thing, fine. I understand why it's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
And yada yada yada.
Okay.
So like this one, I didn't know that John Carpenter directed it, and all of a sudden it comes up on the screen. I'm like, oh, okay, so here we go.
I had forgotten this because this is not a John Carpenter-y movie. I mean, by design, he was trying to make it not very gory, but it just doesn't feel like when you think. If I were to think, oh, John Carpenter made a Christine movie, oh, that's got to be just weird and messed up in a way that like I can't wait for. But
you would think
that's the movie, and it's pretty tame. Like it's pretty
very tame.
Movie.
It's not very innovative. It leaves out a lot of stuff that should have been put into it.
Right.
Still a very tight movie,
but
though.
I really liked it. I want to be clear. I'm not saying that I didn't like this movie.
I thoroughly enjoyed the book way more than I thought I would, and the movie I thought would be on par with like Maximum Overdrive.
Oh my God.
It's fine.
Although,
good.
yeah, so 2 years later, we do get Stephen King's car movie of his own about killer cars. He goes back to that well, and it was not a good idea.
No.
King, if we had a time machine, if we had a DeLorean, another car movie, to go back in time and say, don't do Maximum Overdrive, well, then I guess we wouldn't have anything to talk about in our last episode.
Exactly.
So it all worked out. This movie's written by Bill Phillips.
What else has he wrote?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think anything else, but just when
Good to know.
I feel like we need to call out the writers of these movies.
Yeah.
Obviously written by novel by Stephen King, but adapted by Bill Phillips. Yep, and this book was written. The movie came 8 months between.
Wow, that's astounding to me.
Yeah, 8 months between the book and the film.
I almost wonder if that was a good or bad idea?
I wonder.
Did it not let the book marinate long enough in the public?
Maybe.
Or was it like, here's the new book and soon the movie's going to come out, and it doesn't give them enough time to be like, read the book a couple of different times and be like, oh, this is what's going to happen.
And then build up expectations and be disappointed. But yeah, I guess we should talk about this movie, huh?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So opening scene.
Yep.
Detroit.
Go Blue.
Not really, but
we're from Michigan, go Blue.
Yes,
so
go.
we have to respect. This was the heyday. This is what everyone talks about.
GM.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Yep. When factories were open.
The assembly line is there. They're cranking out 58 Plymouth Furies.
That's right. 1958, not 58 of them.
Well, I don't know how many they
There were
made.
very few, actually.
Yeah.
Part of the production of this movie was trying to get their hands on as many of these as they could.
Yes.
They got like 23 or 22 of them. Not a lot, but they were able to do it. So this is a real type of car, the Plymouth Fury.
Yes,
and
because
this,
Stephen King drove this car.
Yeah, this was his car.
I'm sure why he picked it.
Right. And the traditional models, the only models are like beige
Buckskin is what it's called.
Buckskin. But the classic red was not an official production. And even the book does call out that it's a custom request.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
paint job.
Which is very, very expensive. But like all the car guys no, like, oh yeah, if you get a custom job, like it's just gonna be that much better.
Sure. Yep. So this car stands out. You even see the assembly line. You see all these buckskin cars, and then there's the one red one right in the middle that stands out, and you're like, that's the one.
Yeah, and everyone's kind of drawn to it. Everyone's kind of looking at it as it goes down the assembly line and that type of stuff. I would too. It's different. Gentleman kind of pops the hood, takes a look around.
I appreciate him being called the gentleman. He seems like a nice guy.
He does.
He is.
And he's like, leaning over, and he like leaves his hand on kind of the
undercarriage, you can
Carriage.
say it. It's not the undercarriage. It's the bumper, the front bumper area.
Sure, and the hood comes slamming down on his hand for
Ouch.
no reason.
Yeah. Now, we later come to understand Christine is a sentient, malevolent spirit.
If you say so.
I do say so. And I feel like this is unwarranted.
I agree.
What's she doing here? What's this about?
Well, then, I guess the next one makes sense. Another gentleman gets in the car on his union break, and he's smoking his cigar because it's a union break, and you can do whatever you want. And
back in the 50s, you could smoke
And the seats
anything.
are covered in plastic.
Yeah.
Does that make it right? No, you're still going to make it all smoky inside.
I guess. Because there's a lot of upholstery and lining and stuff.
Like the ceiling of the car is probably fabric. It's going to hold all that smoke. Like, fuck you.
That's part of the new car smell.
No,
Jody.
it's not.
You ever get into
I
a
hate
new car?
car smell.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's stinky. It smells like chemicals.
It does. Good chemicals, in my opinion.
So he flicks his ashes onto the plastic on the seat, and then all of a sudden, union breaks over. People go back, open the car, and the guy's dead.
Yeah. So John Carpenter, George Carpenter, his brother, decided, hey, this movie is not going to be gory at all. I'm not even going to show the kills.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have people
like,
die
they're just
off
gonna
screen.
die.
We have no idea why this happens.
He still has his cigar in his mouth.
Right.
Yeah, it
presumably
makes
he asphyxiates. I don't know.
Who knows? Because they literally open it and he falls out dead.
He's dead. That sucks. Poor
all
guy.
All right. That's the beginning. We're done with that.
Yep. And then cuts to 20 years later, something like that.
Yeah. We then get into our not main character, but the one that we're going to follow most of the time, Dennis Gilder.
Right.
The
giant forehead.
Yes,
Dennis Gilder.
This actor does have quite the large forehead.
Yes, he does.
He is I would say everybody's best friend in high school type of guy.
Yeah, he's not a jerk.
Yeah.
He's a jock, but he's not like a jock.
Yeah, he'll stand up for the little guy. His best friend is Arnie Cunningham,
who is the main character.
and is a big nerd.
Yeah. And some might say these characters border on stereotypical, like jock versus nerd, but
not too much,
not too
really.
much. Right. They're kind of multidimensional. I do love their relationship.
I agree. I wish more people had this.
Yeah. Just people who are friends but who weren't like you.
Yeah, like broaden your horizons on the type of people that you hang out with.
That's right. Do it.
That's what I would suggest.
Be friends with a nerd. We're cool.
I'm already gonna start.
Mm-hmm.
I think every person cast in this movie is wrong.
What?
It's just nothing I wanted.
Okay.
And I'll get into it as the characters come. I will start with Dennis. Dennis is the most acceptable to me.
Most acceptable. Well, please come on down and accept your reward for most acceptable.
You are the most acceptable because you're not traditionally super good looking, but you're not strange either.
Right, yeah.
So then that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this guy needed to have a little more charisma.
Okay.
Just a little more stylization for the time period that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that. He does a fine job. The character that he plays is the hero.
Yeah.
There's not much to work with. Arnie Cunningham, like I said, our big nerd.
Mm-hmm.
He is also in Jaws 2.
Yes.
He's one of the nerds in that when they go out on their boats and whatever. And I knew it the second I said, I feel like that kid's in Jaws 2.
Yeah.
And he is. I don't know his name, but...
Right. I don't really know any of the people in this movie.
And when I read the book, and I know everybody does this, they make up what the characters look like in their own head.
Yeah.
But listen, like Stephen King wrote it a certain way. He has flavor text and he describes characters. And when you swing so far away from
You're
them...
talking about the acne. You're talking about the pimply face.
You looked at my notes.
No, I didn't, but...
It says right here, not pimply enough.
Right. Yeah, he has very clear skin, this version of Arnie.
He does, but it's not just that.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like not...
He's not ugly.
Yeah,
He's like
all.
a normal looking dude, right? They style him in a nerdy way. They give him obviously the glasses, his hair slicked back.
It.
Right.
That's not enough for me.
Okay. And you're not
And
wrong.
it's probably just in the age of Hollywood where you don't have any ugly people.
Right.
Which is a shame.
I mean, Bill Murray was popular at this time.
Stop. People, you hate on Bill Murray so
He's probably the ugliest famous person.
Steve Buscemi is around.
Oh, you're right. Well,
just so you know.
A little older for the parts, these people, but still.
But this is what I'm like. I just don't think he's nerdy enough. We all know that kid from high school that was just an ugly duckling
right.
and maybe got his shit together
Hopefully.
or didn't.
Right. Yeah. Like me.
You were not an ugly duckling.
Yeah, but I agree with you. He does look like, not movie star, but like he looks like an actor in a movie. Like he doesn't really look super uniquely.
I just picture like really short, sandy hair, like pimples. Like this kid's face is supposed to be like oozing.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, and that I just picture like these big ears that kind of like stick out a little bit farther. Like that's what I'm picturing when I think of Arnie Cunningham.
Right. I was doing it for the listening audience. Yes, I agree with you, but I do think that the actors themselves, the acting, everyone does a great job in this movie, I think. Yeah, I'm really impressed with all the performances.
But you know me, I'm always like visual.
Right, what does it look like? And that's it.
Yeah, acting.
That's where it steps and ends with me.
Yeah. So we'll start with those two characters.
Yep.
Dennis is picking up Arnie to go to school, and
he drops his. He's carrying these trash bags, and they rip, and that just fills me with so much dread and fury.
Has that happened to you?
No.
Plymouth Fury?
Oh, good one. Good one.
You did the voice that the person who reads the audiobook for Christine does for Arnie. Dennis.
Dennis. Yes, he talks like this. He's just like, oh, Dennis. What are we gonna do?
And I love that.
It's almost like Morty from Rick and Morty.
It's either that or like that one monster from Monsters Inc. Like, you're making him lose his focus.
Shut up. Yeah. It's very, very like
and I love that. And that's the type of nerd I want for Arnie
just
Cunningham.
Get too into these books. You just get too into them. You should not listen to the books anymore or read them. You should just watch
I've already read all the ones that I'm going to read for this season.
Well, it's too late. He does rip his bags. His mom is there.
Yes,
his mom's
Regina.
a character. Mm-hmm. Regina George?
Regina Cunningham, who I don't like casted either. She's too old.
She's too old.
She's too old. Arnie's parents are supposed to be college professors. college being like a super new thing that everybody's going to. So like they would be younger professors.
Yeah,
She's too old.
They had just invented colleges
Kind
in
of.
1980, so that makes sense.
I just don't like it. It's just she's supposed to have like long dark hair and she doesn't.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't agree with any of this. I do think that she's presented to be too unlikable right out the gate. I think that I like a character that seems nice at first and then is like slowly you peel back the curtains of being kind of mean.
But
this
they don't
character,
have time.
They don't have time. They don't give this character as much screen time as they should. We
Right.
do see the first thing she does is she's like, your car is like bad for the environment or whatever. And
that's
it's
noise
true.
pollution. You might as well be throwing toxic waste into the streets.
Yeah, it's like you're made to not like her immediately. And I don't
Exactly.
think it pays off. It's not like she's
No.
a villain in this movie. She's just kind of mean.
No, because you're supposed to like relate to her as a mom.
Right.
And like her son is like changing
Mm-hmm.
later on. But yeah, you're right. She does. She's very Karen-esque.
Right.
And nobody likes a Karen.
Nobody likes a Karen.
Or a Susan or a whatever.
Or a Susan or whatever. So that's kind of a misstep. But then, yep, they go to school together. He drives because he has a car. Arnie does not.
Correct.
Very notedly, Arnie does not have a car. And they go to school.
Yes, where it's now lunchtime and Dennis is like, where the heck is Arnie? And someone's like, oh, Buddy Repperton has him in the shop class.
Buddy Repperton.
And so Dennis is like, okay.
Oh, boy. Yep, so he goes and we meet John Travolta, who is in this movie. Straight
Nope.
up
Yes, but nope.
100% John Travolta in this movie.
So Buddy Repperton is our big bully for the movie.
Yeah, he's our Stephen King bully. And I guess I will call out the actor, in this case, William Ostrander, only because it's not John Travolta.
And it took us 5 minutes to decipher that was not John
It
Travolta.
so easily could be.
Yeah.
It so easily could be.
This is the only character that I like the casting that they did.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think he looks too much like a 30-year-old, which I
well,
guess...
that's just a movie high school thing.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's like that.
Right.
So that doesn't bother me at all.
Sure.
But what he does have, as all
Buddy
bullies
Reppertons
have,
do.
well, Buddy Reppertons, but bullies have in Stephen King stories, they have a switchblade,
A butterfly knife, right, where it just like flip, switches out.
which are highly illegal.
Yeah. They're
I don't know if they were illegal back then, but today they are highly illegal.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're illegal because like they make a big deal about this knife, and a teacher shows up and is like, "Hey, do you have a knife? You shouldn't have a knife."
Another teacher that beats up a student.
yeah. King, what kind of high school did you
Yeah,
go to?
what happened to you?
What's going on with you? But yeah, he is getting picked on. He's got all these friends, Buddy does. He's got one friend who's from Friday the 13th Part 2. He's got another friend who's from Ghostbusters. He's got all these friends who are
Got
from...
Richie Trelawney, Moochie Welch, and I forgot the name of the other one.
Yeah, I don't know.
You never hear it in the movie, so how would you know?
Right,
But-
they're just kind of these guys. And so they're all picking on him. Moochie Welch grabs Dennis's balls.
Yeah.
In probably the worst
So-
scene of the
so
movie.
weird.
It's awful to watch.
Men are so weird.
Yeah, I saw the movie Hostel. That was a hard movie to watch. This was worse.
I'm going to watch Hostel one day and I'm going to be like, that's nothing.
He gets his balls squeezed, Joe. It's awful.
It's awful.
It's awful.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Buddy Repperton is teasing Arnie. Yes, they get in a scuffle and,
Mm-hmm.
and basically like Arnie is now marked as like you got me in trouble, suspended, my knife taken away.
Huge like peeve of mine when this happens, when somebody and this happens all the time. All the time this happens. Somebody
In these books or in real life?
Well, both, but I mean we see this in Carrie. Somebody does something mean, gets in trouble for it, and
then blames the victim.
right, as if like now the playing field's even, but it's not because they don't want it to be, because they're mad, and that makes me
Well, because
mad.
they're asshole people.
Right. They are.
Like nothing's ever going to make sense.
That's
They're
right.
just assholes.
This is our Chris Hargitty.
Hargensen.
Hargensen.
Chris Hargensen, Henry Bowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just all these-
are all the bullies. All the bullies.
These are all the bullies. So, yep, he gets in trouble and he's pissed at friggin' Arnie for it. So that's going on. We also meet Lee Cabot.
Yes, the new girl in school, who every guy wants.
Right. She's popular because she's pretty and new.
And smart. She's like a different flavor, and they do take some time to characterize.
Not like the other girls.
Exactly. Like one of the guys is talking to Dennis and is just like, yeah, like she's super, super smart, does this. Like they give her enough for characterization. Right. Mm-hmm. And then she walks down the hallway and I'm like, what the? She's not supposed to be like that beautiful,
right.
like Lee in the book.
In the book.
First of all, she's supposed to have blonde hair. Guess what? She doesn't.
Oh my God, Joe. You're killing me here.
It's just so simple. Lee's not a complicated character. The acting is not that extensive for her. Like, it's not.
Okay.
So get me a blonde who's shorter. I cannot stand.
She is tall.
She's very
taller
tall
than Arnie, which
and I don't like that.
Very funny to watch later on in the movie.
And not to be a jerk against shorter men, but like,
right.
Know your lane.
Okay. I don't agree. I'm on the opposite side of this. I love short men.
Everyone loves Lee, including Arnie and Dennis.
Yeah.
But
I think, doesn't Dennis ask her out? Doesn't he go to the library?
He goes to ask her out, and she's like, "Oh, I can't. I already have a date for this weekend."
Right.
And apparently it's Arnie.
Yeah. Dennis plays football, and we know this because we see him play football, and he gets tackled, although I'm skipping ahead.
You are skipping way ahead, so let's put a pin in that.
Maybe we'll stop talking about that. He does play football, though. Trust me. I'm not lying about this.
Yes. So on, their way home, Dennis and Arnie, they're driving, and Arnie's like, wait, did you see that on the side of the road? Go back.
No, I didn't. What are you talking about, Arnie?
And so they pull into this guy's driveway. There's this piece of shit car.
You watch how you talk about Christine.
This piece of shit car.
Okay.
And Arnie's like, oh, she's a beaut. She's a classic. And Dennis
this car
is
beat
This is junk.
It is. It's got literally grass is like growing out of its fender.
Yeah.
It's this old car. It's Christine. We saw it at the beginning. Very beat up, very disheveled, dirty. Being sold by a George LeBay.
Yes.
Not a Roland LeBay.
Not Roland D. LeBay. Let's get into it.
Let's talk about it.
The book.
Yeah.
Has Roland D. LeBay. A war veteran who's kind of gone crazy.
Yeah.
Who had a wife and a daughter who both died. Mm-hmm. And he bought this car custom and has loved it ever since. And
named it Christine.
Yeah, named it Christine. Hates the man, wants to take the shitters of the world down and all this other stuff.
Yeah. He very problematic character. He talks. Yes. He's very racist, very any kind of ist and phobic you can be.
Yes,
he is that.
In our movie here, we have George LeBay, who is the brother of Roland D. LeBay, who we never see.
Right. In the movie, Roland has died recently, and George is selling all his stuff.
But George is also Roland.
Right.
In characterization.
Right. In the book.
It's very confusing and, in my view, very stupid.
Okay. In the book, Roland, who is this racist jerk, has a brother whose name is George. Whose name is George, who's like a professor.
It's very confusing.
I think they did this for two reasons. One, they wanted to have this just mean racist character in the movie,
right.
Which they do. And two, it doesn't make sense that the version, like the characterization of how we see Arnie act around Christine and how possessive and obsessive he is about her around her.
I know what you're getting at. Go ahead. Yeah.
Would not sell Christine
or keep her in this condition.
Right. So
because it's junk.
Right. She's complete junk. So I think to get around that, they were like, what if that person has died and so his brother is selling the car? That makes sense.
That makes complete sense. Why it's not that way in the book, I don't know. But it's very confusing for me.
Right.
Because Roland and that character, whether it be George or Roland, is like a big pushing factor in this movie.
Right.
But let's get into who plays George LeBay.
Yes.
It's the old man from the original Home Alone.
Right.
The neighbor who everybody's scared of and eventually saves Kevin.
Yeah, it's so funny to think about these things because the look at George LeBay in this movie and look how old he is. And 7 years later, he plays, and he looks younger in Home Alone.
I agree. Well, that's just because they've messed up his teeth and all that
They're
stuff.
making him look awful in this, but it's just so funny to think about.
It is.
Yeah, so that's a fun little...
So he's that. And then Arnie's like, I have to buy this car, and whatever it costs, it's not enough.
Yeah.
And Dennis is like, you're an idiot.
Jesus, shut up, Arnie.
Yeah.
Shut up.
So he buys the car.
Yep.
And the guy's glad to have it gone.
Uh-huh.
Brings the car home.
His parents are pissed.
They're like, you wasted all your money that you've been saving for college, a whole $250.
Hey, listen, it was the 80s.
I know. That's like $1,000 today.
Right.
And what the hell's that going to get you in college?
Mm-hmm.
A book.
Yeah, maybe. A couple pages, chapter or two.
Yeah.
They are I think this reaction's not, it doesn't make sense to me. They're like so...
I mean, wait till our kid comes home with a car and we're just like, what the hell?
For sure, yeah. But they act like he's like 14 and bought a car. Like they act like this is the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do this. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't even compute. You can't buy a car. What are you talking about? Even though he's 17, going on 18,
yeah.
He's going to college soon. This is the perfect time to buy. I just don't understand.
It's probably also because it's a piece of shit car.
Yes, it's
and
an awful car.
They don't want him to take shop in high school, and he does because he likes it because that's kind of how his brain works and that type of stuff.
Right.
So they're just like, you're gonna have to pump more money into this to even have it street legal when we could have just bought you a car.
I also think that one aspect of this story that's completely lost, I don't think this translates to the movie at all, is the like growing up aspect of it.
Yes,
like
I agree.
Like the passage of time and like, you know, becoming an adult. This car is a huge symbol for like freedom and authority and being your own person and growing up. And I don't think that translates to the movie in any way, but I think that's a big part of what the parents are upset about.
That's a huge thing. That was a huge thing in my household.
Yeah.
Because like once my sister got a car, it donezo.
It was over.
Like it was like, yeah, she was never the same, and fell in with the wrong crowd. So needless to say, I didn't get a car on my 16th birthday.
Okay, great.
That's
neither
here nor there.
Yep. So they're upset and they blame Dennis. This is a thing that
I hate.
You hate this.
Like, what's he gonna do?
Right.
Like Regina literally is like, why did you let him buy that car? And Dennis is like, I didn't let him. I tried to talk him out of it. And she's like, you didn't try very hard.
Yeah, that
it's like, oh, sorry, Regina. Where were you?
Right. Oh, yeah. What did you do? You didn't stop him from buying the car either.
Yeah. How dare you let him make that money?
Right.
Like, I just would have turned it right around on her.
Yeah. It's so frustrating when somebody tries to do something and then is reprimanded for not trying hard enough. That pisses me off.
Oh. Check into our Peeves and Q's podcast because I could spend a long time on that.
We could spend a whole episode just on that. So, yeah, they're upset about this car.
And she's like...
And they're right to be in the end.
Yeah. And Regina just says, you're not keeping that car at this house.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, okay, fine. I'll take it to Darnell's car shop down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Which is this just big car shop that has little... cubicles, garages that you can work on your car.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like $20 a day in the book.
Right.
Or a week. $20 a week.
It's expensive to keep your car there, and like you have to pay to rent out the tools and everything.
Yeah.
Now we have to talk about Darnell. I love this guy. He is the perfect slime ball in this movie.
Yeah.
He's so just greasy and just angry.
Was good too.
This guy is in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Is he the boss?
I think so, Mr. What is it, Lundy or something like that? I have it open here.
Okay, nice. Good job, Jody.
But yeah, he looks so different.
Well, because he has a beard.
He does have a beard, and that makes everyone look very different. See, George LeVay. Does he have a beard in Home Alone? I don't think he never
does.
mind. I take it all back.
It's just whiter, I believe.
Yeah. So he says, yeah, you can keep it here, but don't run that shit in my...
Because it's smoking all over the place.
In my place, yeah. It's disgusting, this car. It's like, smoke and exhaust.
Right. So time kind of goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this one scene with Darnell's talking to some other guy. He's like, yeah, that kid's doing a really good job fixing up that car, but he's doing it like all ass backwards. Like
weird things that he's focusing on.
He's got a cracked windshield, but he just put on like brand new windshield wipers and like just like little things like that where it's just like, okay, that's really super random.
Yeah. Why isn't he doing any of the important stuff first? Whatever.
Right.
But yeah, he is fixing up this car. It's looking better and better slowly over time.
And over this time, Arnie is getting just more confident,
I guess so.
arrogant.
Here's what I'll say about that, and this is another problem I have, and I think this is mostly true of the movie more so than the book. Way too abrupt of a change in
agree.
behavior. He's
Yeah.
almost like just you see Arnie, and then it's a completely different character the next
the
scene.
next day. Yeah.
Like it's not this gradual change, which is what you want out of this, where he becomes more and more evil, and he does kind of have like an arc. He's like kind of a jerk, and then he becomes evil. But it just doesn't feel that subtle to me. I don't know.
Right. It's very abrupt. But now that like the car's almost done, this is when we find out that he's dating Lee.
Right. Because this is the scene where he plays football. See, I'm not
we're at
lying.
football. 20 minutes later, we made it to football.
We made it to football. And because showing up to watch the game is Arnie and
In the
Lee
new car.
in the new car, which looks
Christine.
great now. And they kiss, and again, she's like
Kissing
a foot,
awkwardly.
Well,
yeah.
she's a foot taller than him,
Yeah,
so he's
so
like craning his neck up to kiss her.
It's weird. Then Dennis gets in a horrible tumble accident on the field.
He gets like that double tackle where he's in the air and gets hit and falls to the ground on his neck. It's terrible to watch.
Yeah. So he's now hospitalized, was almost paralyzed.
Yeah. And he'll never play football again.
Right.
It doesn't
What
really,
a shame.
It doesn't really factor into
I
the
think
movie
it's
in any way.
just a way to because Dennis is very astute, and he would have been like, what the fuck is going on with Arnie?
Yeah, they're getting him out of the movie.
Yeah, they basically put him on the back burner until they need him again.
Right.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Meanwhile, Arnie and Lee are dating, and they go to the drive-in in a fucking monsoon.
Yeah, in just a storm, a torrential downpour.
Why would you ever do that?
Why would you go? Why would they play? Do they
Yeah,
even?
no,
are they
they
even
would never.
on?
No, they wouldn't even play it.
They would cancel the show.
If it was raining this hard, they would never play it.
You wouldn't be able to see. You'd have to have your windshield wipers on full blast, and even then,
then
who
you
wants
would
to watch a movie like that?
Well, I know back in the day of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the drive-in was just a place to go to hook up.
I mean, I saw Grease.
Right.
Some would say I'm watching Grease
Right
while
now,
I'm
yeah.
watching this movie. Yeah. But yeah, so they are there and they're getting a little flirty. In fact, they're getting super flirty. She's like grabbing at his junk, much the same way that a Moochie Welch grabbed at a Dennis Gilder earlier in the movie.
He got gilded.
New euphemism just dropped.
But she pulls away, and she's like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
This car's making me uncomfortable.
Right. She
gets
doesn't
up,
like the vibes.
Yeah, she jumps out, runs to the bathroom. Arnie chases her and is like, "What's going on? Oh, it's your car. You spend more time with this car instead of me." And he's like, "You're crazy."
Right. I know you're
love
just
you.
a girl and you're crazy and hormonal, but come back to the car.
Right. So she does go back.
Right.
She's like, "Well, hell, there's this burger there. I'm gonna eat it."
Well, yeah. I mean, I have to come back for the burger. Sure. I know the car's evil and I hate it, but I gotta have the
that
burger. And she starts choking. Arnie's outside. I think
because
the
the windshield
wiper
wiper stops, so he gets out. Christine locks herself, and Lee starts to choke.
Yeah.
And Arnie's like, and all these super bright lights
it's getting really
on the
bright.
inside of the car.
Now, two things I want to say about this. One is we heard earlier from George LeBay that Roland's daughter choked in the car and died.
Yeah, his 5-year-old daughter choked and died while in the car.
And then his wife committed suicide in the car. Which seems like the kind of thing you'd legally have to disclose.
And then Roland also committed suicide in the car.
So yeah, this car's got a lot of death going around it.
I don't know if you would necessarily have to say that.
If it were a house, you do.
I guess.
And a car is a house.
If it happened
for temporary visits.
I think if it happened 7 or more years ago, you don't have to say anything.
Oh, interesting.
I think.
Okay. The other thing I'll say is Stephen King wrote another car movie book in way later in the 2000s, From a Buick 8, which I don't remember anything about that book except for the car glowed, and it glowed so brightly that you could see the light through a shed that it was in. I remember this is one of those things that stuck with me because I was like, yeah, because you can turn, if you hold paper in front of a flashlight and turn it on, you can see it. So like how bright, what would that look like to turn a light on so bright that you could see it through like something thicker than paper? Because my brain is weird like that.
Because you didn't think that the shed would have like windows or like cracks, like where the light could come out. You thought it literally like went through the walls.
All right, we're ending the episode. I'm going to go crawl into a pit.
That's what I would think
for
of.
the rest of my life.
Okay.
Anyway, so she is choking. He tries to get in, but the door's locked.
Right. And he doesn't have the keys because they're inside the car.
Yeah.
She does manage to pop the lock on her side.
Pop the lock.
The guy who was in the car next to them sees that she's choking, comes over, gives her the Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah, and Arnie's freaking out. He's like, hey, stop touching her. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, obviously, he should know what she's doing, but
right.
If you're just panicking,
It's brought up later that's like
anything.
he tries to say that he didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
He could be attacking you, but the implication is he was just being possessive and creepy because of Christine.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, get off her.
And basically Lee's like, I'm never getting in that car again.
Yeah.
And she's giving an ultimatum like, you either choose the car or you choose me.
Right. Now, ultimatums are never good, but
no, they're never good.
But Christine's a problem, and she is very clearly evil. So
not at this point.
I mean, okay. So also at the back to football. See, I'm back on this football thing because that's going to be my thing for the whole.
Very strange for you to say.
Yeah, I'm going back to football. Buddy Repperton and his friends saw the car.
Yes, and
they
it's
know
like,
the car.
is that Cunningham's
Yeah, they call him that. It's not cool.
car?
It's very mean.
So after Lee has her episode in the car, Arnie's still keeping his car at Darnell's because his mom won't let him keep it.
Even though that's all good now. The guys, Buddy Repperton and
bullies.
his friends, quote
gang.
unquote, go to Darnell's and they so John Travolta character jumps up on the car. And it is the funniest. If you've seen Grease, which I assume you have, it is the funniest thing to watch. This guy who looks exactly like John Travolta on
in
this
black,
old 50s
like the
car.
same tight black T-shirt, black jeans, swinging a sledgehammer. Yeah, looks exactly like John Travolta. And I literally said, I was just like, go Grease
lightning, you're burning the quarter mile.
Yeah.
Grease lightning, go Grease
because
lightning.
all these guys are just like standing around. Like, it looks like it's going to happen. And then
I almost have to think that it's like intentional in some way because he looks just like John Travolta. Anyway.
Was Grease even out then?
Yeah, it came out in the 70s. It was like 78, something like that.
I keep forgetting this is 83.
Yeah, it's not the 50s, actually.
Yeah. Well, no, I know it wasn't the 50s.
Right. So they destroy the car. We don't see this, which is unfortunate, but one of them does take a shit.
What do you mean unfortunate? I'm glad I don't see
It
this.
takes a shit on the dashboard of the car.
That's disgusting.
Movies are too tame, I think.
Whatever.
John Carpenter, I know he just made The Thing and the critics were mad at him. Go hard. Go all the way.
No, it's enough to be like
that it happened.
Traumatized by it. Yeah. And
well, when Arnie tells his mom about it, she breaks down crying, which I think is funny.
Well, yeah, because why do you think that's funny?
Because it's just a weird reason. Like, yeah,
it's terrible.
Be upset, but she's like, oh no.
Well, because he's so distraught over it.
And he's like, he loses his mind when he finds out. He's like, because Lee comes with him, and he turns on her and like he calls her a shitter. He almost hits her, like shoves her
back. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like yelling at her. He's very upset. And this is kind of like the final twist for him to be like, oh, he's full
like,
sicko
right,
mode at this point.
Yeah.
So he's where are we? What's going on?
So now is when the audience kind of gets it that Christine can repair herself.
Yeah,
because in a very, very short period of time after the bullies destroyed her, she's back to normal.
Well, we see the scene because it's like Arnie by himself.
Yeah, it is. He turns back. Nobody else is in the garage.
I love this scene.
Yeah, and the music's playing. It's dark, and he's just like, okay.
He steps into a spotlight.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, show me.
And then the car just fixes itself.
Yeah.
It just all these dents
all
just
practically.
pop out. Oh, I made a joke to you that you were very mad at me for, where I said, "Man, these effects are so good. I can't believe the CGI they were able to pull off."
I hate
back
that.
in the 80s.
Credit where credit is due. This is a practical effect that looks awesome.
It does. It's so good. Very simple way they did it. They just destroyed the car with hydraulics and then played it in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
They just pulled a dent into the car and they just played it in reverse.
So basically, she repairs herself. All dust gone, all broken glass gone, everything.
She looks brand new. She looks hot.
Right. If a car can look hot.
It does.
So this investigator kind of comes along.
Well, the reason is because of a senior's gift. Where
okay.
Moochie Welch.
Yes, one of the bullies.
Yep, is out and about, if you will, and the car comes to life and starts chasing him around.
We don't know that. We don't know that the car comes to life.
Oh, that's true.
Because we can't see anything because the windows are blacked out.
Yeah, Arnie could be driving it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know. Even Moochie assumes that Arnie is driving.
Car,
He's like, Cunningham, is that you? Stop following me. Blah, blah, blah,
he says,
blah.
"You're not mad, are you?"
Yeah. Oh, fuck you.
And we're like, "You destroyed his car. How did you think he was going to feel?"
Yeah. Like, oh no, it's fine, man.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I will say now we have to talk about this because
How this guy dies?
no. Well, yes, but what we have to talk about is the idea of this movie is this is like a killer car. It's an evil car, and that's
what it ends up being.
I think.
But I don't think we go into normal people. I don't think go into this knowing that.
You don't think so?
No.
You think that's a twist in the movie that the car is evil and
maybe?
Sentient? Okay. All right. Well, my entire point is I think people know this to be the killer car movie, and that's kind of a silly idea. Like that's not very scary. This car being evil.
I agree.
I think they do a good job. I think John Carpenter does a good job of making this car scary. I think
it's an unstoppable force.
Right, it's an unstoppable force. I think the way it's framed, the cinematography, it's very sinister. Like the sounds of it, like it's very
it's like
it's a very evil sound. Just like I think they do a very good job of making this idea that is not very scary to me anyway. They make it scary. What makes it scary? I think they do a good job at that. So
let's talk about how this guy dies.
Yeah, let's do it.
He's basically running down the street. Christine is chasing him, and he goes into this very narrow alley and is like, "Oh, she can't fit in here. There's no way she's gonna get me."
Right, but
and then she pulls around, nose front, destroys herself to get to him. Why? She's not going fast enough that he wouldn't jump up onto her hood,
get up
and over and away. He just lets it happen.
Climb up the
He's
car.
He's like, "Damn it!"
Yeah. Oh
I'm
no!
dead.
A car is coming at me very slowly.
I feel like a lot of death is like that in this movie, where it could completely have been avoided.
That's true. I think, that's true of most horror movies, where it's like you could have done a little better. Not to victim blame, but you could have done more to get yourself.
You could have tried harder.
Yeah,
Dennis.
I think a lot of the time people panic.
I guess.
I think a lot of the time people are just like, I did not expect this car to, crumple up and go into this alley to kill me. And so you go into freak out mode. Anyway.
So now the investigator comes.
Twin Peaks watch.
Yeah.
Harry Dean Stanton.
Who plays the investigator?
No,
Judkins?
he plays a trailer park owner in Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay. But what is he in this?
Oh, he's the investigator. Yeah.
Judkins. Yeah.
Yeah. Junkins. He's also an alien.
Yes.
Alien, the first one.
He's the one that gets the water dropped down his face.
He is. He's in a lot of stuff. He's a character actor.
But mostly getting the
But
water
mostly
dropped
he's
on
known
his
for
face.
water drop on face, yes. And he's suspicious of Arnie. He's like, hey,
how'd you get your car?
Yeah, we know that your car was totaled because we talked to people about it and we just know things. And it's weird that you didn't report that because these people destroyed your car. Seems like something you'd want to have told the police about. And also seems like you'd be mad at him for enough to kill him, maybe, Arnie?
He doesn't say that.
I think you did.
No, but he's very interested in hey, how'd you get your car fixed so fast? And Arnie's just like, oh, it wasn't as bad as what everybody said.
All right. But it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Go watch the movie, Junkins. Rewind it and watch it for yourself.
But so now the investigators are kind of on their tail.
Yeah.
The next night, Buddy Repperton and the other two guys, one of them being Richard Trelawney and the other guy,
whatever his name is,
who was in some other movie.
Well, one of them was in Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
The other one was in Ghostbusters. He was the one who got shocked for eating gum.
Yes. Are kind of all together, and they they're being followed in their car.
Mm-hmm.
And so Buddy Repperton whips into this gas station, jumps out of the car, and is like, leave us alone.
Right. Now, this is my favorite scene.
Yes,
of the
this is
movie,
the
I
best
think.
scene in the movie.
This is so cool because the car swings in at like a blazing fast speed, crashes into Buddy's car, and, gets hooked to it, which I always love when cars are like fused together from that, and backs up and then breaks himself free. Then bursts through
the garage gas
through
station.
the other car to kill Friday the 13th dude.
And Richie Trudon.
And we also see, Friday the 13th dude is in there. Ghostbusters dude is who he hits. Friday the 13th dude is in there. The car explodes. It's a gas station.
Right.
There's an explosion.
Gas goes everywhere. It catches on fire. Buddy Repperton's outside like, holy shit, what the hell's happening?
Yeah, so those
Thinking
two...
it's all over because like anybody who was inside at that explosion would obviously be dead.
Arnie driving the car should be dead. But car comes blazing out. And when I say blazing, oh boy, do I mean blazing. This car is on fire, both in the metaphorical way
and not
metaphorical way. It is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
The entire movie.
This flaming car just coming after this guy who goes running like
down the middle of the street.
Yes. This is the classic. I think people refer to this as the Prometheus like sequence.
Yes.
Because it's exactly in Prometheus where that big rolling thing is coming for Charlize Theron.
And she just doesn't dodge.
Dodge out of the way. Again, you panic. I get it.
I guess.
But it's so frustrating to watch.
Fucking go.
Turn.
Just turn. Anyway, it is a very cool scene when the car finally hits Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Because all we see is it from the back, still blazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden the body just like rolls out the back and is on fire.
Yep. It's very cool.
So he's dead.
Yep. So I do want to say that I do think this is a little kind of sloppy, a little weird that there's like one scene where one of the boys gets killed and then another scene where all of the others get killed.
That's what it's like in the book.
I guess so, but like you want to pace that out. You want to like sprinkle that in. You really only get those two sequences and then the final act of the movie.
Because the car is now extinguished and returns to the garage.
Oh, right.
Smoking a bunch.
Somebody stop me.
And Darnell's the only one there, and he's like, "What the?" And he knows Arnie.
What did I tell you about
No, he said he knows Arnie's out of town.
Oh, right.
He's like, "Who the hell took this car?" And look at it. It's like gets his gun,
gets a shotgun,
pulls the car's door open.
It's hot, but he gets it.
And nobody's inside.
Nobody's inside? What? That's not possible.
So that means he has to get inside.
Okay, sure. Well,
I don't make the rules. This is what it is.
He says, no one's driving this car, so that means I can drive this car.
Right.
And I will own Christine. By the laws of ownage, I will own Christine.
You finders keepers.
Yeah, finders keepers, right. So he gets in this car. This is very stupid. He just gets in this car to sit in it for some reason.
Well, it's probably just like it's the same thing as like the Pet Cemetery. It's like people are drawn to it.
I guess like a force. And yeah, Christine closes, locks the doors, and then crushes him with the seat.
Yeah, pulls the seat so far forward that he crushes himself, which I think is a really cool death. Do I really think that would happen? Maybe it would be very painful.
Yeah, I don't know that this would kill a person,
if
but
it
would
cracked your rib into your heart.
Yeah,
it could kill you.
Right, for sure. Plus, I mean, that guy from the first scene died. He just
who
died.
Even knows?
So Christine,
who even knows?
Christine could probably just kill people and then makes it look like they died through normal means.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the investigators find this scene the next day, but Christine is fine.
Yeah,
back to normal.
Perfect.
But Darnell's there, and Darnell's dead. And again, they question Arnie because he shows up to get Christine his car, and they're like, "Hey, Darnell's dead," and he's like, "What?"
I mean, he is actually like, "What are you talking about?"
Right, he's shocked. And so that's going on. Meanwhile, Lee is like, listen, this car is a problem.
Right.
All these people are dead.
Yeah, Dennis is finally out of the hospital, and Lee's like, I have to see you.
Yeah, we have to
talk to you.
Right.
And she's like, this car's, something's going on.
Yeah.
It's changing Arnie. It's not good.
Mm-hmm. So they decide that they're going to go, they're going to deal with this. their own way.
Right. Dennis goes and carves into Christine in the hood while Arnie's at school, like Darnell's tonight.
Which, you know what I never really like noticed or picked up on? You don't see this later because Christine can heal herself.
Yeah,
so,
why
like,
wouldn't she just... That's exactly what I thought. Why wouldn't she just heal herself and you'd never have to go to Darnell's and
But I think the
possibly
idea is
die.
like Christine would go, because they actually don't know for a little bit, like, because they say like, well, what if Arnie doesn't show up? And then he's like,
well,
Christine will.
That's so weird.
Which is like, yeah, again, because they...
But Dennis is very intuitive and is like, yeah, that could fucking happen.
Right, but I mean, I don't think that they know Christine is sentient at this point. But anyway, Christine shows up. We do see this happen. They're ready. They have this plan where they're like...
They get this bulldozer into the garage.
They got a cat. Oh, it's a caterpillar. Because the R is scratched off, and I made the joke that it's like, did they do that on purpose to make it seem more like Maine?
Caterpillar.
This movie, by the way, does take place in California, not Philadelphia.
Yeah, not
book
Liberty,
takes place.
Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
No, in the book it takes place in Liberty, Pennsylvania. And Arnie drives to Pittsburgh to do Darnell's dirty work in the
Pittsburgh.
book.
Okay, yes, right. Okay.
But yeah, this takes place in California. I hate it.
Mm-hmm. Whatever.
It's just another one of those things. It's just like, why?
And John Carpenter...
I know why, because John Carpenter didn't want to get all those goddamn leaves like he did in Halloween.
Right. Well,
that's why.
That's right. That movie also was filmed in California, but was standing in for Illinois.
Yeah.
And so this is California.
Because he didn't want to try that hard.
Right. Sure. John.
Try harder.
Just go to
the leaves
Pittsburgh.
aren't that expensive.
Right. Anyway, they are waiting, and are they romantically involved?
Not so much in this movie.
Okay.
In the book, yes. At this point, Lee has completely flipped. They're falling in love because of shared trauma from Arnie.
Sure.
And Arnie catches them kind of being together, and that's how Lee's like, oh, well, he's definitely going to kill me now.
Right.
Or Christine's going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to do something. So they're going to do something.
They are. Yeah. They go to Darnell's and they're waiting, and then Christine shows up.
She was there the entire time.
Oh, yeah. They're waiting. Oh, because they're like, you need to go and
lift up the garage door.
Right.
And then when she comes in, close it so she can't get out.
Right. And then because they're like, you need to go it'd be very dangerous for you to stay in this caterpillar bulldozer, so you need to go into Darnell's office, where it's safe,
which is nothing but like glass.
Right, which is very stupid and proves to be stupid, but whatever.
Right, Lee gets out and she goes to open the garage door, but Christine's already in there, shines her headlights, and takes off for her.
Yeah. And yeah, again, very scary, this car, because like comes to life, is chasing after her. There's this whole sequence, and eventually she gets into the office, and Christine has to crash through the office, and out flies
Arnie,
who was in the car,
who was actually driving the car.
Yeah,
presumably possessed.
Yeah. I actually don't think he was driving the car, but he was
just
in the car. Yeah,
and so he tumbles out of the front windshield.
He's got glass.
Yeah, lands on the desk, pulls a huge piece of glass out of him, and is alive just long enough to like graze Christine and die.
He dies.
And that's it. I hate that. It's just not a good death. The book doesn't really get into his death either.
Right.
But
yeah. It just makes me sad because I just want the best for Arnie.
I just want I don't know. Yeah, you either want the best death or the best not death.
Right. I wanted him to be okay. I wanted him to make it work.
The actor who plays Dennis actually drove the bulldozer for all of these shots.
He had to learn how to.
Cool.
Yeah, he had to learn how to drive a bulldozer.
Put that on his resume.
That's
now.
right. He could be a bulldozer driver if the acting thing doesn't work out for him.
So it does. I mean, he destroys Christine with the bulldozer.
Yep, she does. I love the sequence where she tries to like heal herself, where the bulldozer is driving over her, crushing her. You can see her like try to,
like you can hear it's like pink, pink,
right,
pink, like metal is popping back into place.
Not enough.
Yeah, and just destroys her.
Yep, and eventually, and then so the last scene is she's been cubed.
Yes, at the junkyard they have crushed her into just a junk.
Yeah.
Cube.
And then you hear. We haven't really talked too much about it, but Christine plays like on the radio
like
songs
old rock and roll.
Yeah, old rock and roll songs that usually like tie into what's happening. Like I Can't Let You Go when what's her name, when Lee is choking and locked in, stuff like that. And so you hear like this old rock and roll song play, and the camera like zooms in on Christine, but then it zooms past Christine, and it's just some dude with a boombox. I think that's very funny.
But the actual true last sting of the movie, they do zoom in on the junk pile of Christine, and a piece of the fender does start moving. Which, nothing is going to stop this thing.
Christine 2.
Electric car.
Yeah. Electric transmission.
Yeah.
I wish, I kind of wish, I like the ending. I kind of wish that it was something electronic, like a headlight turns on or like the radio.
Yeah, it's very, very subtle.
Yeah, the fender moves. That's a little, I don't know. It just doesn't, it's not, I just want a light. That's just what I want is a light.
I'm sorry you didn't get it.
I'm sorry too.
Is this the movie that they're making one new Stephen King movie, and I can't remember if it's this, Cujo, or Misery.
I don't know. I Salem's Lot. I think there's a Salem's Lot coming out in 2023.
Who cares?
I assume that every one of these movies has a remake in the docket of some stage of development. Whether they happen or not, I don't know. But I assume every single one of these has a remake coming. So that's the movie.
Yeah, a little bit of just really cool facts about the movie. They went and they found 24 Plymouth Furies.
Yes.
Junked them all together to create 17 working Plymouth Furies.
They had 17 different types of car.
Because they had to destroy some. They have to have just the fronts of some of them for like when they're in the car driving and acting and that type of stuff. So by the time the movie's over and they've destroyed everything, there's only 2 Plymouth Furies left.
That is correct.
2 Christines left, if you will. We have met one of them.
Yeah.
Which is very, very exciting.
We've already seen it, but when Jodie was playing as
Carrie,
we got to see this. That was very, very fun and exciting. Also, the book describes Christine as like a 4-door model, but that didn't exist for the Plymouth Fury. And so they had to use like 2-door models and just ignore that, which I think that's a funny little detail.
Yeah, because like Steve, you had this car.
Right? Unless you had a super custom,
whatever,
something or other.
So Alex, since you're a boy, and this is a boy movie,
that's true.
I've decided.
I am. Yep.
What makes it scary?
Before I tell you what makes it scary,
I
want to talk about some of the recurring King themes that we see in this movie. You have, obviously...
the Switchblade.
You have the Switchblade is the number one. You have the thing that's more evil than it at first appears. You have this in, obviously, Christine, but also Buddy Ripperton and his friends, which I said, they're the best of friends. They would die for each other, and they do. So you have that. You have this idea that King, I think some would say this is an easy way of coming up with the story, of taking, like, what if a thing but
became evil.
Right. We will see this again in 1983 with the other C movie with Cujo. In this case, the thing is a car. What if the thing is a car, but it's evil? So I don't love this, like, what can I take that's evil? A haunted... guitar. What if the guitar was evil and killed people?
You know what? I bet there's a horror movie out there
I would
that.
actually love that, now that I say that. So that's a thing. You have the destroying a town. It doesn't happen that much, but he does blow up a gas station. So there you go. And so, what makes it scary? Well, there's a theme of this movie that I really picked up on, and I'm really proud of myself for like developing. I've been trying to come up with this idea for this movie of like generational disparity, because this is an older car. It's from a bygone era where like cars were hot, and the 50s
muscle cars,
right? Muscle
classics,
cars, right?
Yeah.
I think it's very intentional that it's an older car that Arnie becomes obsessed with.
Yes.
The personality of George LeBay is a very like just old, like grumpy old man kind of idea. He's like just and Roland himself, especially in the book, and that's kind of the essence that this car is possessed by. That Arnie himself starts to become obsessed by.
Yeah, he kind of in the book he changes more into Roland,
right?
And that's what it's like presumed that, he's being possessed by Roland. And it even talks about Arnie's driving, and in the passenger seat is the ghost of Roland D. LeBay, and he's decaying, and he's really the one driving, and all this evil stuff.
So you have this disparity between like he's a young person, but he's being possessed by this like old
spirit
generation, and how Christine is like, fueling all of that. And I think that's really cool. Christine is scary. Obviously, Christine is red. Red is the color of blood. So the color of red is, we all know, the scariest color. So Christine
Green's
is
pretty scary too.
Green is pretty scary.
That's why Freddy Krueger's sweater
is red and green. That's right. And it's just scary. We talked about like an inanimate thing being alive, being scary because you think you're alone and suddenly you're not.
Right.
Something that you think is not going to kill you because it's just a car.
Right. But will stop at no end to kill you.
Yes, an unstoppable force. Right.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't even the implication is that Christine's still alive.
Will never die.
But cars are scary. It's the thing. Cars can kill you.
Yeah, think about how many people die each year or get injured.
It's
because
super
of cars.
like the most common like way to die is like heart attacks, car crashes.
Accidents.
Right. So it's cars are scary just by themselves.
For sure.
And growing up is scary. Again, a huge theme in the book.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
like
I
growing
wish they
up
would
and
have dove into that more, because
they're just monologues that Dennis gets into about like, I'm seeing
and
my
Arnie,
future. Yeah, right. And it's just like this fear of growing up, fear of just time passing,
and parents controlling everything that you do,
right,
until they can't anymore.
Yeah,
and that's hard on parents.
That's
too.
right. Yeah. So I think this is a very successful like book and what it's trying to do, a very successful movie and what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
I was very happy with it, and I'm excited to see where we go from here.
I am very happy that I enjoyed the book so much.
Yes,
and
you were dreading it.
I almost didn't do it.
Right.
I'm very glad I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Christine.
That's right. Christine is done, locked away, and cubified. So now what are we going to do next, do you think?
Well, let's keep right in the alphabet. Next week, we will be talking about Cujo, which
That's
I had no idea that they came out the same year. I'm just that good at planning.
Right. Cujo, Christine, same year, same initial, and fun stuff. So yeah, we're going to talk about Cujo next. I'm excited. You're excited.
I'm very, very excited.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Well, if you want to tweet me what your favorite car was, or what your first car ever was. What was your first car?
My first car
I know it, but go ahead and tell the audience.
Dodge Caliber.
And it was a piece of shit.
It overheated if it was like summertime and you
if
just
you
turned
looked
it
at
on.
it wrong.
Yeah, it was just like, ooh, I can't run now. You kidding me?
And mine was a Grand Am.
Nice.
Red.
Oh,
Mine was
hello.
red. Yeah.
It was two-door.
Yes. A red two-door.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
Ew, that car's long gone.
Where can they tweet at you?
They can tweet at me at CleverGirl, the letter F and the letter X.
You can tweet at me at Mr. spelled out the long way, Red Plays, at Mr. Red Plays.
And if you want to tweet the show, you can tweet at Makes It Scary.
Please do.
And then share it.
Yeah, share the show. What the hell?
It's the spooky season, guys. Come on.
That's right. It's going to be October next, so
yes.
Excited about that.
Wake me up when September ends.
It's done.
All right. Flip the calendar. Let's go.